Hi, my name is Taylor Hensley, and a little bit about myself. I graduated from the University of Arkansas in Fayetteville, go Hogs, with my bachelor's degree in human nutrition and dietetics. And over the past 9 months, I was a student at UAMS to complete my dietetic internship. And currently, I am a graduate student here at UCA. And I am also working full-time as a K through 12 registered dietitian. A little bit personal facts about me is that I have one cat and then I have a Cocker Spaniel named Izzy. So I'm pretty busy with everything that I'm doing these days, but COVID is making everything super fun. So transitioning into the Just Eat All article that we were reading for this discussion post. The study was done to assess how diners' taste evaluations change based on how much they paid for an all-you-can-eat buffet. The current research on this topic focuses on the potential for overeating and the reason why it leads to obesity. And so this article is really interesting to read as a different perspective versus just reading what you normally would see with all-you-can-eat buffets at restaurants with obesity and linking them together. For me, the study was conducted in a very short time frame, which makes it hard to determine if it was reliable or valid. I think if the study was conducted over a year-long period and gathered a little bit more data with a larger group of like a sample size, then it would be more reliable to go back and use that research. So for me, I'm going to lean towards it's not as reliable as some of the other studies could be, but it could be changed with the future study that they can conduct. I do think that their methods could be expanded on in a more in-depth, or they could change the way that they worded or some of their procedures that they did. For example, the way that the customers were approached to take a survey directly after paying. Well, we know, after you pay, you don't want to be directly walked up to and asked to, hey, can you finish this survey? And so I think that was one thing that if I was to go into the study, that's one thing that I would change. I think it's a limitation to their study. Do you think the research is something that you would quote for if you were asked to speak about the topic? I think that this article is really interesting in the fact that it gives a different perspective than what we're normally used to seeing. And so for me, I would use it, but knowing also that they list their limitations of their study as well as other limitations of other research articles that they have provided within their own. So listing those, if asked about the topic, would be most important, just to get that information out there for others to be aware that, there are different limitations. The study could have been better just like any other study. But I think it gives good points, and it uses other articles to really justify their study and what they're doing and what they want to do. And it also helps with, kind of seeing like their future study outlook of what they're actually wanting to do. My interpretation of the research article is that they're trying to see if changing the price of an item really changes the thoughts, feelings, and attitudes that a person has while you're eating, and also including like taste and appetite changes. And so that's a really interesting point is, if we are lowering the cost of certain items, are they going to taste as good? We try to get the most bang for our buck, but necessarily in our brain, do we think that the food tastes as good if it's $4 versus $8? You're like, wow, this pizza is really good for $8. My impression of the article is that they're really trying to expand on the research about thoughts and taste perceptions with, versus the cost that is paid. It's something that isn't researched very often, and you don't really see that often. You mostly see the studies like they listed, going back to the rates of obesity with all-you-can-eat buffets. And so I think that they were faced with a lot of different challenges, such as, their small sample size group and the time limitations of the buffet because it was only offered in a small time frame. And so I think if they took this study and really went on with it to, different buffets, all-you-can-eat buffets, expanding that time, expanding that sample group, I think that they would have a really great study that they could go back and use for different research articles. I I did really enjoy reading this article. I think it was really interesting and brought a lot of questions. I know I marked my paper up with a whole bunch of different colors, but overall, I think it was really great. They gave a lot of pros and cons to each article that they had researched about that specific topic, and really gave their own limitations. And I think that's something important to look at a study when you're reading is, can they point out their limitations of their own study, and what are they wanting to do when they change all of those. So that is my recap and my introduction for the class. Thanks, everybody.